Hello, everyone. This is Jorge Diaz, president and founder of Larry Jacob Internet Marketing, and I'm bringing you another episode of Transforming Small Business Thinking. My guest today is Alison Boyle. Alison, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me. So everyone knows Alison and I go back a couple years. We're both in the Infusionsoft Partner Network. We've had a lot of chances to interact in person, in San Diego of all places, that traffic and conversion and things like that. And we were talking last week, and she mentioned this program that she's in the process of launching. Now we're in the membership site space. She's actually building a membership site, which is interesting when you're building these things. But what's really interesting is what she's going to be teaching. Well, I'll tell you, instead of me coming up, Alison, why don't you come up? How did you get into this? Because it'll kind of make sense as we go forward.
Okay, so I have a lot of calls with prospects and clients, and when I was on calls with prospects, my original offer is when I start out with them, the first thing I'll always do is to do a complete strategy with them. And I call it Foundation for Growth. So I'll do a complete, build out a roadmap, we'll do a strategy in order to take their business to the next level. Now, here's the thing. On many of the calls that I was having, I discovered there was a lot of people that weren't even quite ready for that just yet. So that got me thinking about, well, okay, if they're not ready for this, then they need to get other elements in their business together in order for them to move forward.
So
I thought, well,
they weren't ready for a strategy session.
They weren't ready for a strategy session.
And that would be something that would get them going through some marketing automation or something a little more advanced, right?
Because the people who are ready for a strategy, the things that they have in place is they have the mindset to grow to that next level. They're crystal clear on their offer. They have a list already, and they have a presence on social media.
And in order to have an offer, it means that they really would have to have an understanding of who is their ideal client, I'm assuming, right?
Absolutely, okay. Yes.
So you're running into people who aren't ready for that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the calls that I'm having are people who have an idea. And having an idea is fantastic. And then unless you have the knowledge and the skill, you can easily get distracted and just spend a lot of time doing the wrong thing. So what I found was that people wanted to really get clear on, their mindset in terms of, okay, this is absolutely what I want to do. They needed to get clear on who their audience is, because this is a big, big problem I see with people trying to, or not defining it, or not spending enough time on understanding exactly who their audience is. And then ultimately, once you're clear on those things, you need to have an offer to put in front of these people. So then you need to think about what the problem is you're solving, and how you can package that. And then inevitably you need a list in order to get that, to get your offer out to that list.
Okay. So I'm hearing four things. We got mindset. You mentioned who your offer is, and in our field we call that who's your avatar, for lack of, that's kind of the term, right? There's the offer. What are you going to try to, not so much sell them, but how do you present what it is that you're selling?
Yes.
And then you have a list, which, I mean, you and I are both in this Infusionsoft email space, so we kind of understand. So why don't you kind of run us through those things? Because a lot of people that are watching us are going to be new business owners. I guess they're an expert in some space.
Yes.
I mean, we deal with these people all the time. We have a guy who's an expert at running with the bulls in Pamplona, Spain, if you can believe that. So that's his expertise. And he converted that into a kind of a tour company. People that want to run it, get gored by a bull, whatever that thing is. And now he's got a course, but he's got that expertise. And when I met him, by the way, he He knew who his customer was. He had really good offers, and then we were implementing. But, like you, we run into people that's like, hey, I got this great idea. And it's kind of like, well, I can help you. But until you...
Yes, exactly. That is exactly the case. And I have a number of people that I've been speaking to, and I'm like, okay, so some of them have got elements in place, and I'm like, well, okay, that's fine, but in order to create the strategy, you need to have all these elements in place. So first of all, I need to find out where they're at in terms of their thinking, in terms of their mindset, in terms of how determined people are, because a lot of people
get more specific on that, because mindset is kind of
you're right. When I speak to people, they're like, well, actually, I want to do this, but I'm working on this and I want to work through this. And some people have the mindset, I can do it on my own. And if that's how they think, and they think they can do it on their own, they're wrong, because they can't. And I can speak from experience. You can't do it on your own. But they need to go figure that out themselves before I can help them.
Right. And by the way, we're not saying that, here's Alison and, she's God Almighty and it's never going to work. But I mean, doing anything, just imagine this. I'm going to do my U.S. taxes for the first time on my own. And I'm going to cross my fingers that I saved as much money as possible, that the IRS is not going to audit me, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's just like people would never do that. Or I'm going to go and do payroll on my own for the first time. It's kind of like, dude, find yourself someone who's done it before, even if it's a relative or something, and have them give you a hand, or, hire an accountant, whatever those things are.
I've got first-hand experience of that, because for a long time I did my own accounts. And then when I passed them on to a qualified accountant, and they were doing all the tax returns, they kind of picked out some elements that I was claiming that I shouldn't have been claiming. So that kind of ended up with a large bill for me. But that was okay, because I'm so glad I got it resolved then, because I didn't know that it was wrong. I had no clue.
Right. But a lot of people jump into this online marketing thinking, yeah, I can figure it out. I'm going to listen to Jeff Walker and Ryan Dice and all, or Frank Kern, whoever the big guys are, and I'm going to figure it out. And it's kind of like, well, knock yourself out. That's like really hard.
Totally. And, and if you have the time, hey, happy days, but I'll guarantee you this. One, it will take you not only twice as long, 3 times, 4 times as long. B, you'll get frustrated with elements of it along the way, and then you're more likely to say, it's too much, and go off, and then you'll end up going down different tangents if you don't have the help. So I absolutely believe that, as I said, if they're in that mindset and that they want to do it themselves, that's okay. They're not my audience, so they're not, not ideal for me.
No, right. And your avatar, which we're going to be talking about in a moment. And it's kind of like, it's not someone who thinks they can do it on their own.
Totally. They are of the mindset that I know what I want, I know what I need, but I don't know how to get there. And I know I can't do it on my own. So they must have that mindset that they know that they've obviously, maybe they have already tried to do it themselves, and they've learned the hard way, and they've realized now, actually, do you know what? I'm not going to do this because it's, seriously, it's not for everyone. I think the solopreneurs, if you look at solopreneurs, they're solopreneurs for a reason, because they're right. I can do this all that, and I think they have, they just think, oh, I want to earn, I don't know, 60, 80,000 pounds a year, and that's it, and I'm happy with that. And I think it's when you want to move beyond that, and you want to move into 6 figures and start to scale, now that's not straightforward, and it's pushing people a little bit outside their comfort zone. But that's where I can help people. So,
okay, so one mindset is I can do it on my own. Now it's, do I want to get past what we call a job, which is
yes.
I'm employed, where I'm the employee doing everything, to I really want to run a business, and now online marketing, online tactics become relevant.
Yes, completely. Because again, while you're in that mindset of I just want to, you're happy with the income that you have, and you want to, there's a cap on that. And you don't want to grow a business, you don't want to build out a business, that's okay. But all you've done is created a job.
Which, by the way, for a lot of people means taking a vacation is super difficult.
Yes.
Everything's dependent upon you, and so there are other problems. Maybe the income cap isn't an issue, but I want to take a vacation and not have to either take my phone or stay busy or, whatever. Or some people, if it's a physical business, look, I just can't go on vacation unless I find someone to keep the shop open, right?
Without a doubt. Yes. No, totally. You must have that, you must have that drive that wants to take it to that next stage, for sure.
Gotcha. Okay. So those are two. Is there any other mindset things?
And the willingness to do the work and put the work in.
Yeah, but some people are saying, I've got this beautiful dream and I got a super plan, but it's like, gosh, do I really want to work that hard?
Yeah, absolutely. But you have to. And some people, I know they juggle maybe a full-time job with trying to go self-employed and all that kind of stuff. And
but let me tell you, by the way, that is a really good time to be thinking about this, because like right now, right, I've got my business to run, and then at the same time I'm developing, you're working in your business and then you're working on your business, those two parts. If your day job is the one paying the bills, so at least you alleviate that stress, that the paychecks are coming in, right?
Yeah.
And now you really spend your time getting your mindset wrapped around what's it going to take to do this.
Yes.
And, you've got the family support where, the wife is saying, look, I don't mind you working, 9 to 5 and then, 8 to midnight and, driving yourself ragged. But it's a safer, more secure way because, the mortgage payment's still going to be due.
Yes, completely. And there's a lot of people out there that are in that situation. There's a lot of people that are frustrated with the work that they're in, but they don't know how to get out of it. They don't know what the next step is. They don't know how to, move away from it. And there's a fear element too, because there's a fear like, oh my gosh, if I give up my job, then, I can't pay the bills, and how am I going to do this and this? So yeah.
And by the way, there's other more subtle fears, which is, these are ones you have to almost like dig into, and we're almost getting into therapy, but sometimes us as consultants, we become the therapist. It's kind of like, what's holding you back? It seems like you've got everything, you're an expert in your space, you have a respect. Maybe they already have a big list. Why don't you take the jump? And, when you kind of dig into it, there's an internal fear of failing, of other people on the outside looking at them going, dude, why do you want to do this? And there's always the naysayers, right?
For sure. And sometimes, having you must have a plan and almost a self-belief that that this is truly what you want to do and this truly is going to work. And it's just keeping hold of that internal belief and taking advice. If you're serious about doing this, if you're serious about, quitting the day job and starting out and getting your business off to a flying start, then I really do encourage you to reach out, to experts.
Gotcha. Okay. So mindset is the first thing. So then the second one is who is your target audience, or who's
the second one is your avatar. And again, this is something that in order to be successful, you really, really must understand who it is you're targeting. Not just who it is, but what is their lifestyle? Who do they listen to? If maybe you have a product or a service that you're targeting young mums, mums who have young children. So if you think about mums who have young children, their time is precious. They're cooking a lot, they're shopping, they're looking after their children. Maybe the husband's got a full-time job, and maybe he's the breadwinner, and maybe she just does something part-time. So think about her in detail in terms of who would she listen to? Does she have the ear of her husband? Does she obviously has some girlfriends that she listens to? What magazines do they read? What does she do? Do they have a dog? Do they take the dog out for a walk? All this kind of stuff, because the more detail you go into about understanding who your avatar is, then the more you can tailor the content to reach, and you can speak the right language to them.
No, right. And for example, there's a difference between a mom who's in her 20s and already has 3 kids versus, let's say a 35 to 45-year-old mom who maybe started out, their family later in life. They're dealing with different things. And as subtle as that is, you talk to that first mom and that second mom totally different.
Yes, very, very different. You're absolutely right. Because if you've got a young family, you might have somebody who started a family very early on in their teens or 20s. And they've probably not yet had much work experience. They've just started out life with a family. Whereas you've got the other end of the scale. You've got a mom who's maybe in her 30s or 40s who's had a career and then had the children. So obviously,
now let me. This might illustrate this. So I've done a lot of research into the family law marketing divorce attorneys.
Okay.
So, which is a real cynical way of looking at these two audiences, right?
Yes.
So if I'm a family law attorney and I'm targeting that young mom versus the older mom, it's two different, and I'm trying to get them to hire me because they're ready to, get out of this marriage. It's a different discussion because the young mom is just, how do I get out of this and keep custody of my kids and whatever. The older mom's probably going, I came into this marriage with a lot of money or, more money. How do I preserve my nest egg and come out of this with, so the concerns in the person's head is going to be different. And when you write sales copy for them, it's got to, and I'm saying sales copy, but it could be recording video content for these people.
Yes.
The things that are going to resonate with them, it's like, oh, this person gets me.
Yes.
It's going to be different because, and so I'm just using that to illustrate because understanding your avatar in our space, we hear that term a lot and we kind of know what it means, but are you really in there? Before this, we were talking about, Marvel and, as we were prepping for this, because we both have, affiliations there, right?
Yes.
Do they care about the Marvel movie or the Game of Thrones episode? Yes. Are they people that watch that? Because you can have a little fun with your marketing and then take advantage of the things that they like. Their interest, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's also will help get their attention too. Because as we have spoken about a few times before, the currency of succeeding online is engagement. So what we're after realistically is we're after these people to engage with us. So we have to grab their attention for them to engage with us.
No, right. And by engaging, it means will they see a Facebook ad and actually click on it or even pay attention to it?
Yeah.
If I send them an email, what's in the headline so that they're going, hold on, let me stop, from the millions of emails I get and let me click into that one.
Yes, absolutely. And it's because you have to stand out amongst your competitors. You have to be different. You have to do something differently. So, you've got to almost, without kind of standing on a beach with a red flag saying, hi, this is me. It's just about creating content that is going to capture their attention.
Yeah, and
you can only do that if you really truly understand who your avatar is.
I have a reference in my blog. If you look it up, if you search for purple cow.
All right.
So, that's the name of the book. But the premise of the book is this guy went driving. He's American. He's in France, and he's driving around. And he's amazed at all the cows because there's cows everywhere. But after you've driven for an hour or two, they're just cows because you've seen so many of them, right? They were exciting at the beginning, and now they're just, oh, hey, look, another pasture full of cows. But if you were a purple cow, you would stand out. So I mean, that's kind of the word picture of the book. But
and I think I want to just emphasize here too the fact that if you skip over this aspect of your business, then you fall into trouble later and further down the road, because the biggest problem that people have is, they haven't actually focused on really understanding their avatar. And if I say to people, who's your, well, actually it's everybody really. It's all this. It's all, you can't expand out. You must niche down, because if you don't niche, then your message gets diluted, And then if your message is diluted, then hey, guess what? You know, you're not going to get that. You're not going to attract your ideal audience.
Yeah, no, and even things like, you know, I'm a plumber, but I'm the plumber that has that big sign from Game of Thrones on the side of his truck. And I mean, a plumber's a plumber when you, I mean, in my opinion anyway, right? But he's the guy that likes the same kind of movies I like, you know, and that might be your differentiator, as dumb as that sounds, right?
Yes.
So you know, I think that's why this whole avatar thing, I think, is so critical, right?
It's without a doubt one of the most important aspects of anyone's business, and to spend time on this to figure this out, because again, further down the road, it's going to be a lot easier when you're ready for paid traffic. This is going to make your life so much easier.
Cool. Well, Alison, let's do this, because we've gone kind of a while. I want to stop this interview. I want to then go to a part 2, and we'll cover the other 2 parts of your program. But before we leave, if people want to reach you, where would they go?
So I have a couple of websites. The website that is just where you can find out more about me is www.alisonjboyle.co.uk.
Okay, and we'll include that in the notes.
Okay, and the for the membership that I have, it's going to be on www.createyourfoundation.com.
Cool. And so that's where that's kind of more related to this program. So, hey, thank you so much. Everybody stay tuned. There's going to be another episode that follows this where we'll finish up the ideas.
Okay.